So what we hope will happen in 2023 is that we'll be in a position to launch the three-wheelers, electric ones. That would be a major positive, I think, for the environment.
We are here with the Kenyan General CA, Vijay Girumal. Thank you for having us here. Thank you for hosting us. There's very good news from the Kenyan two-wheeler, three-wheeler markets. Kenyan General have good news in 2023. Can you tell us what is happening?
So what we hope will happen in 2023 is that we'll be in a position to launch the three-wheelers, electric ones. That would be a major positive, I think, for the environment and for the industry generally. We're also working with our suppliers and with our partners to produce two-wheelers, EV two-wheelers. And if we can start gradually launching that process, we think that it'll start accelerating in 2024. So that's a core pivot point for us. It's an opportunity and a threat, so we need to be alive to it. We're quite confident that the strategy that we're embarking on will, one, be successful for us, but more importantly, be successful for the overall transport sector, if we can manage this transition.
I know definitely you've done your market research and probably there have been inquiries here and there. How is the inquiries like within the Kenyan market accepting especially the electric vehicles?
We think that the acceptance level will be fairly fast, and we think that so long as we deliver a product that will be fit for purpose and capable of doing what it needs to do, we think people are waiting for it. The cost of ownership is lower than a regular electric engine, IC engine, and obviously it has all the environmental benefits. So we think that the adoption rate will be very high so long as the product proves itself.
So you're saying from around April and thereabout, we can have some coming in for maybe testing prototypes or for selling?
So I think April, May is when the prototypes will be coming in for testing. We think that sales will happen more aggressively in the second half of the year rather than the first half, once we've proved that we've got a capable product, because that's the key thing. We have to deliver what the customer needs, and we have to make the customer smile. So there's no point launching something unless we're sure that we're going to make the customer smile.
And as a manufacturer or distributor, are you in conversations with the government probably to have it come at a cheaper rate because of especially the taxation issues? And should the customer end user expect to get it at a cheaper one than what we have the petrol and the diesel powered?
I think getting it cheaper might be a challenge, but there are lots of discussions right now with the government to sort of arrive at some concessions on duties, on VAT, simply because the electric vehicles are more expensive by nature. And we need to make sure that we're not taxing them to such an extent that they're out of reach, because that would defeat the purpose. So if we can get some concessions, and you look at the global environment, globally, the EV space does receive concessions in order to promote the use of EVs. So we're hoping that we'll get the same here. We're not asking for a lot, but if we can get a little bit of concession, then I think we'll be competitive and be able to really produce something that's a value proposition for our customers.
And I don't know, what are your plans probably in terms of setting up infrastructure with the charging? Are they going to be probably charged at home, or you're trying to set up infrastructure to have charging stations around when you have the products coming?
So we as Kenyan General won't be involved in setting up the infrastructure for charging, but we are working very closely, one, with some of our partners, and two, with other partners, to set up the charging infrastructure that will sort of be suitable for these products. And then the other option, of course, is to charge at home. So something that is a vehicle that's not being used that extensively, you can charge at home. But if it's an extensive utilization, then you'll have to charge through a swap structure. So that's the differentiator.
And probably just talking about the diesel and petrol powered three-wheelers and two-wheelers, how is the market like, and how has the market been like in 2023 considering the economic situation? How has the market been?
I think the three-wheeler space has been very, very stable, right? I don't think it's increased like it should have. The increase in the three-wheeler demand will be driven by more concrete economic growth. But otherwise it's stayed stable. What I will say is 2022, 2023, we expect a little bit of growth, but more stability.
Then and lastly, let's talk about the Nairobi market, being the capital city. We've seen the towns of Mombasa, Malindi, and most of the coastal towns. The tuk-tuks, the three-wheelers, have really penetrated the market. They are saturated in the market. What are you doing as Car in General, probably to have introduced more of three-wheelers into the Nairobi market? And if, for example, if they're not going to this central business district, if they're not going to the high up marketplaces, at least they could be available to offer services around the estates or in the outskirts of Nairobi. How are you planning probably to increase the sales of three-wheelers around Nairobi?
So the three-wheelers in the suburbs of Nairobi are actually selling quite well. You don't see them in the CBD, but if you go to the suburbs of Nairobi, they are actually doing well. Now we think that when we do launch the EV in a more aggressive manner, right, we think that the customers are looking for an electric vehicle to ferry them around. And we think that's going to be transformative, right? The reality is, imagine if you can travel in a silent vehicle that's green. It's got to be a good proposition, right? Clean, airy. It's a good proposition. I would take an EV to work. So I'm hoping that when we do launch the EV, we'll see more penetration in the Nairobi market.
Thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.